Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Ameen. Alhamdulillah.
Mm.
So, where our sisters at, man? They haven't been with us in the last couple of weeks or so.
There are so many Ramadan sessions and different things going on
Yeah.
that, I mean, I know in Sister Shahida, because she actually sent us an email last week talking about the ones that they were having there at Shahid. So I would imagine she's probably still involved, somewhat with their Ramadan sessions, which they're probably in the middle of or starting one at this moment.
Yeah.
I know that Sister Martha, I mean, she has been running, I think with a little help from time to time. She's been running that entire board of Zoom meetings at CWSC and AM 310.
Oh yeah, they got it. Yeah, they that's a major project that they undertake.
Yeah. So I'm amazed. I don't even know when, because she works. I wonder when she sleeps. So they have programming going all the time. So I understand. She came in. I want to say she came in late yesterday during Omar's presentation, and there's a few other times that I've seen her come in at the end of something because she's actually been involved in something else where she had to be there.
Right, like a conflict in programming or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our programming has been good. The people who have participated have given us really good feedback, both in the chats and then when I've had a chance to talk to people or people have contacted me, we've gotten good feedback, on our programming. So which is good. And both the Ramadan session, well, now it's just the Ramadan session since we're not doing the collective conversations until April. But the Ramadan sessions, a couple of people have actually seen them on YouTube as well. And at least we get a thumbs up. I mean, we're not getting a lot of comments in the comment section, but we're getting a couple of thumbs up on that stuff. So, and not that many people know that our stuff is even there. We haven't marketed it. We don't have enough that YouTube would actually market or put it in that right hand column for people to be able to click on. But people that know, and so far we've got some thumbs up on
it. Okay. All right. Well, it's gonna be a process.
Oh yeah, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
that
process.
is for sure.
Okay.
So the other thing, obviously, the other thing is we are now in the last week of March, which puts us into the last week of Ramadan, with April staring us in the face. And we've talked a bit. Now it's getting much closer to putting some programming in place for April if we wish to do that. So we probably need to, at least for, I don't know what you guys think about the first Monday. The first Monday in April would actually be, What date in April would that be? Would that be the 7th?
Yeah, right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because the
Yes.
31st is the last Monday in March.
Right. So we got 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So 2 weeks to decide what our programming is going to be if we are going to restart that programming in April.
Um, okay. Well, mm, let me see. Now I can't speak for everybody, so let me just speak on for myself and um I'm probably going to need I'm probably going to need uh, more time after Ramadan, um, in those early parts of April, to reach out to some of the people that that I've made my own personal notes here to reach out to, um, and engage with them on their time and interest in coming on to do a presentation. Um, the two people that I need to do that with, um, is it would fall under the category of starting and sustaining a small business. And these are, I know these are the people that I'm thinking about. They're younger than, uh, they're they're much younger than I am. Um, and I think we even had, yeah, yeah, I had those two people I wanted to reach out to, Jamal Chappelle, who's in, I believe, some sort of uh, business that deals with the medical industry. And then I have a couple, um, where did I put their, I'm looking for it in my notes, but I have a couple who started a business. Uh, it's called Guided Goods. Um, and they're online. Their ultimate goal is to rival Amazon. Um, for some reason, I want to tell you that their home base is in Baltimore, but don't quote me on that. So I still want to reach out to these folks, after Ramadan. Um, they're both of them are Muslim, so out of respect for this time, um, I had not reached out to them, because quite frankly, I wasn't ready. I'm kind of focused on the process of this month. Um, but I will, um, because I'm looking to see, those are the only two that I have. And just for our recollection, we had talked about, um, inviting younger organizers or organizations onto the platform. We mentioned CultureCon as one of them. We had also talked about inviting a younger imams to get their perspective, and we define younger as being, I don't know, under 40, under 50. Then, of course, there was starting and sustaining a small business. Then we also had um, we we were to invite uh, people, let's see, lenders, bankers, and even business owners who may have existing businesses or the process that businesses need to go through uh, when they are expanding or trying to market their business to scale. Um, then we had investments, when and where, planning, halal versus haram. We were going to invite. Now I had um, Hud Williams down here as one of the invitees, but um, so someone was to reach out, um, to him and engage his interests.
Yeah, I got a question. Has anyone compiled a list of potential topics?
No, nothing. That's no would be the short answer. At least not coming from me. We have a general idea, though the things I'm mentioning are generalities.
Yeah, well, somebody mentioned that there were probably 75 potential topics. So I was wondering where that came up with. And I know they mentioned the call I remember. One of the things they mentioned was building affordable housing.
Right. Yeah. Attainable housing. We're going to change
Attainable
our
housing.
language. Attainable housing.
Yeah, and I had talked with our imam here in Fayetteville who has worked in affordable housing development, works for we used to work for the county. Now he's a contractor. Hood housing and that I did with that was that tiny house.
Yeah,
Tiny
tiny
home.
homes. Yeah,
Who? What you say, Tyler?
tiny homes.
Yeah, well, he's developed several of those, and so he has the experience. In other words, from the development side, and also dealing with government agencies and things of that nature. So he's agreed to talk about it. He just needs some more information.
Right. Right. Well, that um, you just made me realize that maybe we can take some time now to bat around some topics because it would make it easier when any of us reach out to the contacts that we have if we were able to 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 offer our potential guests a topic or a theme that we want them to speak on. So that one that Adam just mentioned about obtainable housing, um, is one. The tiny homes project. But I think we're gonna need some others um, for these collective conversations. Now, unless we're just gonna make them up as we go along, as we go along. So, um, if in extending an invitation to HUD Williams, what would um, what would the topic be?
Wealth creation.
Wealth creation. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He's an investment broker.
All right. Wait a minute. So one topic is going to be obtainable housing. And then we got wealth creation. Um, is starting and sustaining a small business, is is that a topic, or does it need to be something else? I mean, can we make that a topic, I guess is.
Yeah, I mean that's always a viable topic.
Okay.
Probably more so today than it was 2 years ago, but definitely that's always a viable topic.
Mm-hmm.
So I also think, I mean, some of these, and I don't know where the number 75 came from. I mean, that may be a legit number. I can't remember it in my head where that number came from. But some of these topics that we're talking about, even right now, could very much be revolving topics. I mean, and it may not be the same person that we're talking to on this particular subject. Like we maybe have once every 2 months, we may have a small business or entrepreneurship conversation on collective conversations. It may be different people. Like I would love to have the brothers who from Atlanta who started the detergent company. I would love to have them on. And it's not like this is what I want you to talk about. I want to have them on and just talk. I want to talk about the idea. I want to talk about how they got started. I want to talk about the stumbling blocks, how they got around them, how they raised the capital, how they allocated, how they set their company up, how they managed to sustain themselves. How do they see their future growth? How are they going to get there? All that kind of stuff. Just have an open, free-flowing conversation because they're real. They're actually doing something. They're doing it, and they're successful at it.
I can probably start that out. I can probably not participate, but I can probably contact them because I've had them on my program before.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
so
that kind of thing, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about truth detergent, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And the same thing with the young people who manage a culture con. My thing is not to put people in a box. When somebody comes on with us, this is it's like a after dinner conversation. I want them to be relaxed. I want them to just be able to talk. I just want to have a conversation. I want to pick at everything. I want to pick their brain. I want to see where they're coming from, how they feel, where they're going, you know, because that is what's going to invigorate the community. Is just the down and dirty. Hey, this is what we're trying to do. This is how we're trying to affect the community. These are the obstacles that we face. This is our aspiration, how we're going to get there. This is what we're doing now. Just like you're sitting around talking to your children or your friends, like the way we talk with each other. Just have conversations.
So, so the format is they're going to be interviewed.
No, we're going to have a conversation.
I understand that part. I mean,
Right. But yeah, I
it's a
mean, you could
conversation
say
too.
you're going to throw questions at them. So if you
But,
think that's an interview, yeah, that's a kind of interview.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, there's going to be a host or somebody.
One of us or
Okay,
all of us,
I
right?
understand it. Okay,
Right.
I understand
We're
that.
not, we'll introduce them and what they do, and then we'll just jump right into it. Just, man, tell me what's going on. I mean, you guys are growing great guns. I mean, you're selling. How many states are you in? You know, how are people getting your products? What are your sales like? Blah 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 blah. Just bam, let's go. Let's get into it. And let's talk some real talk. You know, I mean, let's get down and dirty. You know, how are you doing this? Where you want to go? How can we help as a community? How can you help the community? You know, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's a full understanding. And, you know, I know like the guys at True, the community knows about them now. So it's not like we're going to be promoting them so that people, but there are probably a lot of people that don't know this whole story. They're just like me, they're buying the product, but they don't know the whole story. And I think it's important, especially for aspiring entrepreneurs, to know as much of the story as possible so you have a real look at what it takes to get a business off the ground, especially one that is a consumer facing business. You're selling products to the 300 and whatever million people that are in the United States. What is that like? What are you looking at? What are you planning? How do you do this? How do you plan your production? How do you buy your supplies? I mean, what is all this based on?
Um, okay. Uh, so we got truth. Um, I'll reach out to I'll reach out to uh, Sharif Abdul Malik with We Buy Black.
Okay.
Um, let me get back to my notes. Yeah, I'll reach out. I'll reach out to him. I don't know if I have his number in my contacts or not, but his father is here in Washington D.C. So I'll be able to touch base with him. Mm.
And I would there's a person, and I don't even know this person's name, but there's an imam that I would love if he has the time, and that is the imam of the masjid in California that was totally destroyed in the fires. And I have to
What city
look.
was that in?
I'm in my head right now. I'm trying to remember the city because it's really close, I think, to Santa Monica. But large population of that city was African American, and that masjid has been there. It may have been the third or fourth masjid, I think, built in California.
Okay.
Brother Elwood, excuse me. I think
Yes,
the city is Almeida.
that's it. Yeah, I believe
Yes,
you're right on that. Right.
yes.
I do believe you're right on that. But if we can, I would love to have that brother on and talk to him about their plans for rebuilding and things that they need, and how they're what they're doing now, and that kind of thing, because out on the West Coast they're lost to most of us. We have no idea what's going on out there, except for Shuaib. Most of us don't have no clue what's going on in the West Coast with our masters. So yeah, I would love to have him on if we can find out who he is, and have him join us. I would love to have that conversation.
Mm.
I haven't even seen anything on social media about that.
I saw a little bit. Um,
It's kind of interesting.
yes,
They have
I
a
mean,
fundraiser going
I
on.
saw. Yeah, they do have a fundraiser going on. I've seen the pictures, of not just the masjid, but the entire, surrounding area, which was primarily Black homeowners, Black businesses, all that type of thing that was
Yeah,
around there.
it's
Mm,
the um, it was yeah, the Masjid Al Taqwa.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. It was in Altadena.
Altadena. That's it,
Hmm.
Altadena, which is kind of an historic African American community for the most part.
According to what I'm looking at right now, it's 42 years.
Okay.
Okay, so and yeah, they're in the process of rebuilding. Yeah. Okay.
So let's put that as a possibility. If he has the time that he can spend 45 minutes to an hour with us, that would be great.
Trying to see. Um, hmm, I'm just looking at a uh, Richard Washington. Okay. Mm, oh, Junaid Asi. Junaid. Last name Aasi. He's their
Resident Imam.
yeah. Now, this story, they don't use, they label him as their volunteer imam.
Hmm.
Right, okay. No. Okay, and presently they're using the New Horizon Islamic School
Hmm.
to hold prayer services 4 nights each week during Ramadan. Okay, so yeah, so they still struggling through the process.
Yeah, they're gonna be for a while. So even if they had
Yeah.
insurance, the insurance claims are moving really slow in California.
Yeah, okay. He's a he's an IT professional by day.
Okay.
Okay. So I will. I don't know if AP is going to allow me to share this, but yeah. And he looks to be a relatively young man. Okay. I will. Oh yeah, it does. Let's see if. Yeah, I'll forward this to us.
Okay. I noticed something on the conveners of Imam's webpage, and maybe it was just an oversight, or maybe my eyesight's not great. But they were enlisting all of the different regions in our association. They did not list the Western region.
What's the Western region?
Well, like California, Nevada, Arizona, there's Oregon, Washington State. Because that before there was a regional imam for the Western United States.
Brother Ever, I'm gonna interrupt. May I? I know about
Yes.
it was either what month are we in? March. I do know there was an imam in our conveners meeting once or twice this year from California.
Okay.
And
Probably
I
from San
haven't
Diego, I would bet.
heard his
Either San
voice
Diego or the
lately,
LA.
but I do recall that meeting that he was in on.
So they are participating.
Well, like I was I want to say yes, but like I said, I haven't heard him say anything except for that a few months ago when he was on the call with us. And again, his name escaped me, but he was the convener for that section.
Okay. Because when the announcement, I think this is when I saw it, when the announcement came out for the beginning of Ramadan. If you go back and look at that email or wherever you may have seen it, Facebook or whatever, I did not see the Western region on their page.
I'm on the website now.
Okay.
And one of the tabs they have sections. I clicked on it,
Yeah.
and the western section, it says under construction. Is that what you're talking about?
See, I didn't even see that. So that's
Yeah.
an improvement.
New England section under construction.
Ah, okay.
Southwest section under construction, except they listed one match there. I guess they're waiting on communities to submit information. Midwest section, they have under construction.
Hmm.
Imam
Imam Tariq, do you know anything
Tariq,
about
yeah,
that?
what section are you in? Imam Tariq,
Southern section.
southern section.
Yes, sir.
They only have one match there down here, and that's in Atlanta. No, I think that's the Atlanta masjid. Yeah. They only have one. So you might want to get with them and submit your image or whatever.
Hmm. So Imam Tariq, is this something you guys have discussed? Are they redoing and re-identifying masjids that are in our association or something?
Well,
Are you guys doing that?
I can't answer the question as you presented it to me because again, I think I'm coming into my 6th or 7th month as being our convener, and and also in the meetings with the other conveners. So I I I, I would make mention of it. I can do that.
Yes, it's under construction. So I guess whoever's doing the work or commissioning the work or whatever needs to reach out to these various massages in the various sections and tell them, I mean, they need some information. I'm not sure why nothing is listed.
Hmm. Is Mid Atlantic the same way, Adam?
Mid-Atlantic. Hold on a second. What did I just
Mid-Atlantic section, if I may interrupt, is Imam Salahuddin Muhammad. And I'm looking at a communication
Where's he
that
from?
came. Imam Salahuddin?
Oh, you're talking about out of North
That's the
Carolina.
Mid-Atlantic section.
Out of North Carolina.
I assume I'm looking where
Yeah, yeah.
his
We're part of
919
the
area
middle.
code, North Carolina.
Excuse me.
If 919 North Carolina
Yeah, it's Durham.
area
That's
code.
in
Okay,
he's in Raleigh.
okay, yeah.
But
Okay, let me
there's only
let
3
me.
images down here that I guess
Well, I'm looking at the this is some information came for the start of Ramadan here. So I'm looking at the conveners of imams list, of course, Midwest section, New England section, Northeast section, Mid-Atlantic, Southern section, Southwest, and it's nothing on here from out west. From okay, Mid-Atlantic, and look at it again, the Midwest,
yeah.
the New England section, and then you got Northwest section,
Yeah.
Mid-Atlantic, Southern, and Southwest. And no, it's nothing on here from out west.
So is Northwest, is that Seattle?
There is no
Imam Musa Abdul Ali. I think he in I think he's in New Jersey. I want to say North.
there's a north
Okay.
there is no Northwest section.
Okay. I thought I misheard him then. I thought he said Northwest.
No.
No.
Okay.
Did you
North.
Adam, did you say there is no North? Hold on, maybe this print here in my eyesight. No, that's North. That's my fault. Northeast section.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
fault.
All right. So there's
Yeah, that's my
nothing. There's
problem.
nothing. Just Southwest also includes New Mexico. So I think
Yeah,
there's a masjid in Albuquerque.
Well, who's ever doing the website, redoing the website,
Hmm.
did not list what's the masjid's intersection at all. So when you hit on a link, you would think they would describe what the section is.
Right.
They didn't do that on any of them. And if they don't have an image of a masjid, they don't. It says under construction. So
Okay.
it's
Well,
All
a
right.
very. So I'm
let me
hoping.
let me ask you this, Adam.
Yeah,
What website are you linked to?
I went to the community of Imam, the community of WD Muhammad, iwdmcommunity.com, which is their website.
that is
Right.
right.
Okay, now the one I just wanted to check because the one I'm looking at, they got an entire list here. Western section is Abu Qadir El Amin, Yahya Islam in the southern section.
That's old.
That's old.
I
That
know.
is so
Okay.
old.
No, I know it is, but
Okay.
they had it. They got pictures of these brothers and everything.
Right. So yeah, my question was, has something happened? Because the new stuff that came out 1st of March or end of February didn't have anything about the Western section.
Hmm.
You just probably hit it during the time before you put anything up. So it's under
Yeah.
construction. So
Because that's the last time I've looked is when they put out the Ramadan announcement.
right.
So that's been, let's just say that's been a month ago. So it's very possible they're having somebody do some maintenance or rework their website.
Yes, and this Imam Mukhtar, not Mukhtar, but Mubashir Ukhtar.
Mm-hmm. He's in San Diego, right?
No, Mubashir's out of where's Mubashir out of? Pennsylvania?
Oh, okay.
No, Mubashir Ukhtar. And he's the one that builds the website and everything.
Okay. Okay.
And he's constructing it, so I guess it's taking him a minute.
All right. So I mean that was just that again, that was just I saw that and didn't understand
Right.
what what was going on. But again, I think you did take the notes down. So in contacting these individuals for our collective conversations, are we each going to undertake like reaching out to somebody? Should we have one person within our group be responsible for sending an invitation out? How do we want to do that so there's some rhyme and reason to the scheduling and the messaging?
I think there should be one person doing that,
Okay.
but it should be based on a contact,
Right.
an individual that wants to take the initiative of identifying somebody.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then one person should send them an invitation with all the specifics.
Right. Okay.
Like Imam Hamid, he asked me a lot of questions I didn't know because we hadn't developed it. So I don't know. I just want to know you want to do it, brother.
I'm gonna do what you say. I just want to know what I'm doing before I do it.
So yeah, it should be one person with all all the logistics and things of that nature.
Right, right. Yep. And is it um, going to be okay if people come on to make presentations that may not have slides or PowerPoint?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
All right.
mean, I would do it like this if it was just me doing it. Is if they had some information in particular that they wanted brought to the public eye, let us know ahead of time.
Right.
If it's going to be slides, I mean, obviously, we do it all the time ourselves, so we can be prepared for that. And
Right.
when they come on, come on 5 to 10 minutes prior to the start, we can make them co-host, make sure that their slide presentation is working, all that thing, have it all queued up, for that part of it. But what I somewhat want to avoid is I don't want somebody coming on and necessarily from the get-go they're selling us something.
Right. You don't want to pitch. Right.
Right. I don't need that.
Right.
And I'm hoping that other people in our community feel the same way, because we get pitched all day, every day, on TV, social media, whatever. It's pitch after pitch. I want to have a conversation. That's why I love the idea of collective conversations. Now,
Right.
at the end, yes. How can somebody get a hold of you? How can somebody get a hold of your book? How can somebody get a hold of your program? Whatever the case may be. Yes, then we put that out there. We make sure that, just like for us, when we start selling our ebooks and everything, that people know how they can buy the 50/30/20 plan. They know how they can buy your program on estate planning and family planning and all those things. But we do that at the end. Let's give ourselves, and this is what I tell anybody, give yourself the right to ask people to buy your product. Earn that right,
Mhm.
right? By engaging people. And then they'll buy your stuff. Or they'll come talk to you or come see you or whatever the case may be, whatever that you desire. But yeah, I would just like to have the conversation. And yeah, we'll let them put their slides up, but I want to talk to people. I don't need a pitch.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Makes sense to me. Okay. Well, that gives me enough to be able to reach out, um, to folk on and um, we want to know more how did you do what you're doing questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to know how did you mix that cement that it came out that good? What are you mixing your cement with? Because that's the best cement job I've seen. Tell us about that. You know, what
Mhm.
kind of equipment are you using for that woodwork? That is fantastic. That's the best crown molding I think I've ever seen. How are you doing it?
Mhm.
Right? Can you teach that?
Mhm. Okay. All right.
That's another thing too. Write this down as an idea. I want to have someone on who is fired up and either is doing it or wants to run vocational schools.
Mhm.
At Atlanta, at the W.D. Muhammad's high schools and stuff in Atlanta, do they have vocational classes?
Okay.
Or at any of our schools around the country, the ones that are operating pretty much full time, do they have vocational classes?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can try to find out, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, they're always talked about, but yeah, I've frequently heard them being talked about. I mean, I've talked about them myself, but it's a matter of, it's a matter of funding, uh, to find the type of, mechanic who may no longer be practicing in the trade, um, per se, because they may have retired for whatever reason. But I think the other challenging thing when it comes to any sort of training is you you can be an excellent mechanic. You can execute, diagnose a problem in a heartbeat and get the job done. But that doesn't necessarily make you a good teacher.
True. Yeah.
So and I think that's part of the challenge as well.
Mm-hmm.
I sound like
Well, it's
Like a smile.
if I may interrupt again, and pardon me, but Ma'am Dollar, since you're in DC, have you heard of an organization, entity, the Home Builders Institute, there in DC?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, they financed the program here over 20 some years ago. I think it was, going on in West Gulfport, and and they was paying the students there to attend, and it was great attendance. And I went to it because I needed some extra income, I must admit. But the instructor pulled me out of the class one day and asked me why was I there, and I said I'm trying to learn something. He said, how can you learn something you already know?" So I tried to keep it hid. So he and so it was dealing with residential construction. I know we built the house and we modeled some houses, and I led the crews in doing all of that. So he ended up letting me teach some of the classes, and he made arrangements for me to meet the director out of from DC. I went to Jackson to meet him to end up to try to be the instructor of the program that they was getting ready to launch in Jackson, but they gave it to someone else. And so I just wanted to make mention of that because also I was in a conversation with our mayor here some years ago on another matter, meaning some more religious leaders. So I switched the conversation from while we was there, and he was more interested in what I questioned him on about the city having a building that they will use for a quote unquote a program dealing with this, teaching these trades and things. And he
Right.
said, sure, put the proposal together. I just never never have followed through on doing that.
Right.
So I do know monies is there. The And there's another organization, the National Home Inspectors. I'm saying it wrong, that deal with inspection. And I went through that program because I was interested. in that, and I got a certification as a building inspector. Now, I didn't go get my license due to the fact that the real estate market failed, but it's still there because that certification lasts forever. Once you know, go to the site and get tested and everything. So, because the reason I'm bringing this up is still in the back of my mind to try to implement these things here on the coast because there's a big need for it.
Yeah. So like we need 5 to 10 million additional attainable housing units in the United States of America, which
Well, one
means
of the
that
things,
we need people who know how to construct houses, inspect buildings. I mean, all of these things, everything you can think of that involves actually constructing a house. We
well,
need
one of the things
people in those areas.
that I kind of monitor and got a feeling that they somewhat dumbed down, and I'm saying the building trades because again I got into them when I was in the 9th grade in high school, but one of the things that I use when the instructor let me run the classes in the crew is use mathematics, that tape measure, because none of them could read a tape measure. That's mathematics.
That's right.
And you need you need math.
That's right.
Almost for everything.
That's right.
And you got and no insult to anybody who got PhDs and other careers. If you take them and say, show me 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 here on this tape measure, they couldn't show you properly.
That's right.
So math is there for almost everything that we do. Calculation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I taught a core. I was what they call an adjunct professor at a core curriculum class that taught pre-construction. It wasn't OSHA certified, but it was very much similar to an OSHA class. And I did it for a couple of semesters, and I'm telling you, the most challenging part of that class was when I pulled that tape measure out, and we had to, and in fact, this particular class, I was told that I needed to focus when I got to that section. I was told I needed to focus a lot on what they call it, like remedial mathematics. To take this group back to teaching them fractions. And breaking down a tape measure for them.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man! I mean, that was. We got through it. We got through it, and people tested out well, on it. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge, man. Oh man! Yeah.
And another thing is that it's like I also worked in the building material industry for 15 years too, in different roles. And one of the things that I did, and for one company, the contractors would bring in their blueprints, and I would do the material takeoff for them. And I think me and someone else was the only person in there could do it. And so that all these things are valuable, even though now in this industry we're in now, they're not hiring or want to hire or pay people with that expertise. And I'm just saying it for a fact because they several of them have reached out to me over the years, and they don't want to pay. When I 4 years ago on the coast here, one of the cities, one of the Muslim brothers in this local city, he he grew up under their mayor, and so he told their mayor about me being a residential inspector, and I went and met him and showed him my credentials and the training and everything, and he said himself, "You won't have a regular position. you end up being a supervisor right away just because I got that certification as a building inspector. So when I submitted my information and put the amount of money I wanted, I never heard from them again. And that is the challenge, is that here they don't want to pay you for your expertise. They don't want to do it. And I've dealt with it. The two biggest supply chains, building supply chains here on the Mississippi coast, it's Lowe's and Home Depot. And I applied for a designer, kitchen designer, because I used to have my own business doing that, where I designed people kitchens and sold them the cabinets and installed them, got them installed too. They don't want to pay. They do not want to pay.
Right.
Like, wow, yes, this is
Hey,
challenging.
did I send you that video of the guy that repaired that cargo ship?
No, sir. Not, I don't recall it.
Yeah, because I think Edward had an issue in trying to open it. I don't know if because I sent it to all of us, but it was a story about a cargo ship that was put in the water, and it went out to sea, and the engine stopped running. So they bring in a mechanic. He goes and looks at the engine, and he goes into his little black bag, and he pulls out a small hammer, and he taps this piece of he taps a piece of the engine a couple of times, told him to start it up, and it ran perfect. Ship went on its way, took its cargo where it had to go. The mechanic submitted an invoice for $20,000 to the owner of the ship. So the owner called the mechanic and said, "Listen, I just got your invoice, and I'm a little perplexed because you spent about 2 minutes downstairs tapping on my engine and got it to work, but you're gonna bill me 20,000?" He said, "Yes, sir. Those 2 taps was $2. The other 19,998 was my 20 years of experience."
Right.
That allowed
That's
me
right.
to know that all I needed to do was tap that engine twice.
I'm sorry for keep interrupting, but by one of my older brothers, he helped my father, a first cousin who did plumbing. And the house that they went to was an African American house. And they got through like in a very short time. And my brother said he was getting ready to come from under the house. And so RD told him, said, "No, Kurt, let's don't come from under this house because we're not working for white people." He said, "Because if we come from under this house now, for the length of time we've been under here, they're not gonna want to pay us,
Oh,
the
that's
black
right.
people.
That's
They're
right.
not gonna want to pay for this." So
That's
he
right.
said they laid up under there for about another hour, just laying
Right.
down.
That's right. Yes, sir. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, so
Man,
you've already had the experience.
I really it can get very 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 challenging in everything with people asking you for this and for that, but it is what it is, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. It is what
Okay.
it is.
Well,
So again, pardon me for interrupting you all.
no, you right on time here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and in fact, always keep in mind that the majority of these national organizations, in the building trades,
Mm-hmm.
um, they are they may have regional offices around the country, but their national offices are here. All right. So when you asked me about the Home Builders Institute, I recognize these names because when I go to downtown Washington, they've got an entire building down by the Washington Post, the Washington Post headquarters. So they're down in the K Street area, which is, that's a high rent district, and it's a huge building. National Association of Home Builders is also based in Washington, D.C. So a lot of these associations like that in all kinds of fields, not just real estate, and National Realtors Association is based here. But all the medical industry professionals. I mean, look, National Credit Union Administration is right across the bridge from DC, out in Arlington. I mean, all the national headquarters are in this tri-state area. So just keep us in mind, if I don't know it, I'll find it. So when you mentioned that, and in fact, I went to one of them, the first one you mentioned, the Home Builders Institute.
Yeah.
And I see the advanced training that they offer. I mean, it's something, man, 15 weeks, 300 hours, and they break it up. Classes run, 15 weeks, 3 times a year. And they bring in, and it's free training. And you get, now according to them, you get to choose the program of your choice. Electrical, HVAC, solar installation, plumbing. I mean, and just to show you how well these programs work, my nephew, one of my nephews is now certified in HVAC, steam fitting, plumbing. He's Andros was born in 86. So he's still just under 40. Started his own company with my other nephew, but still is maintaining his job. I mean, and he moves around as property managers for large real estate, companies, but still manages his own business. Well, now he's taken his my niece's boyfriend, and brought him into the trade. To show you the miraculous change, the only thing I knew about this boy was that he was a good father that smoked a lot of weed. But today, he's still a good father, but he don't smoke no weed. Because he's in this program where he's learning the skill that my nephew is teaching him. My nephew took him under his wing, and man, he's changed. It has literally changed him. He still don't know how to drive, because he'll crash a car up in a minute, but it has changed him. So I mean, and I can tell you, this solar installation, man, if you can learn that, you good all over the world. All over the world. In fact, there's an imam, John Bilal, here in the DC area. His whole family came up, um, uh, whole family came up in the first. In fact, his sister is married to Bashir Ali. Um, John learned the trade from his father, who recently passed. May Allah grant him paradise and forgive him his sins. He now travels all over the world managing projects in I mean just everywhere. India, Thailand. I mean he'll be gone for months. And so there's a whole lot to be said about learning these, not just learning these trades, but becoming masters at it. You can write your own ticket. So I mean that needs to be a goal, man. Because I'm not aware of any of our communities under the imam's leadership that offers anything like that.
Well, it would be good. It would be good for us to be able to become aligned with some of these particular groups for programs like that. I mean, I don't know if they do they do these programs outside of the DC area? Is this something that
Yeah.
can be taken? Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes,
this
they
is
do.
something,
Yeah.
so these things can be aligned with a program that we put together or that our community puts together as a whole. Because I mean, my whole thinking in it, I mean, all of these are great programs, any individual from any walk of life. But I'm thinking about our community, the young men that are in our community, especially those that aren't college bound individuals. They don't have an interest in going to college. They don't have the aptitude to go to college. Whatever the reason may be, they need a profession, and they need a profession that's going to pay them enough money that they can aspirationally see themselves as being a husband and a father and somebody that contributes to our community, the community of Imam W.D. Muhammad. And if we can get those kinds of things in place, either as some kind of a partner or a guide to people that have the expertise in our community to teach those things on a local or regional basis, that's going to help all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love, again, to have somebody on to talk about that and what are steps to get this done.
Right.
And make it sustainable. Because I don't know about where you guys live, but here in Dallas, Texas, there are so many 17 to 25-year-old young Black men who have no direction in life.
Same place here, same thing here.
That's all over America, brother.
Yep.
Right. So, but
that's the pandemic.
They got
That's
strong.
right.
Hey, look, they got lots of energy. They have strong backs. They got good hands. They need to learn how to weld. They need to learn how to frame houses. They need to learn roofing. They need to learn plumbing, electrical, solar installation. I've told many of my nephews about that. I mean, you need to get into that. I don't care how slow it's going in the United States. It's going to happen in a big way. So yeah, all of that. Yeah, no, you don't have to go to college to get a six-figure income. Any of those things I just mentioned can create a six-figure income for any young man who's willing to apply themselves.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
We got to find, I mean, who's going to mentor them?
Well, I mean, okay, so there's two different paths to mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
So you have professional instruction,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have us.
So
Hopefully the people the men in every masjid Now, that may be a problem. I understand that may be a problem. That I don't have a problem taking a young man, if we hit it off, under my wing and just giving him information on life. I may not be able to teach you how to be a good electrician. Maybe that's the class that you're in that teaches you how to be a good electrician. But I can teach you how to be a responsible human being and pretty darn good Muslim and a good son and a good husband. I mean, I can give you some guidance on that. Those are probably somewhat formal things that need to be set in place again in our community. We need to have more men involved in mentorship.
Well,
But
maybe
it can be done.
now I'm saying that. I mean, maybe I used the wrong. I mean, in terms of their profession.
Well, that's where you have to find the instructors. So that's what I'm hoping the guidance comes from these national organizations. That if you want to have these kinds of programs in your community, in your state, I mean, however we have to do it, you know, help us identify some people that are going to be the instructors. We need to know everything from the ground up of how you get these programs running, how you get the instructors in place,
Yeah,
the
but I was
kind of
talking,
facilities that you need to have, all that.
I'm talking about. Let's give an idea. I have a few clients that are they're Caucasian, and they might be in the heat and air business or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they have other Caucasian they hire and train them.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, understood. Right. So,
That's what I mean. The normal way to
mm-hmm.
do it is you will start working with somebody who's already doing it. The problem is
Right.
we don't have people already doing it. Those numbers are going down drastically.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the problem.
Right.
You have the Hispanics when they used to charge, they used to cut a deal to get the job, right? Now their prices are going up.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know from Tyler how they did it. They hid under the house. And when they came out, it was done.
Right.
But that's my point. I had to search. So when I had one guy, and I think he was in the heat and air business. Well, he was working for a Caucasian in the heat and air business, which was novel, right? I mean, which was novel. Normally around here, you don't see that. And I told the brother you got to start your own business one day. I put the burden of our future on him. Maybe I should have done that. Probably scared him to death. But that's far and few between. So that's what I meant. Who's going to mentor them?
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that in and of itself is going to be a problem just because of the few numbers that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. So that's food for thought.
It is.
Because the ideal situation is what you mentioned, that you have somebody who's been in the business, who wants to train young men and bring them up to take over his business when he wants to go sit down. And they just continue on in that practice.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The other alternative to that is that someone who's trained and they just go out on their own. You got to know how to get a job. I mean, there's the capital it takes to get started, all the equipment that you need, all of these things, the advertising that you have to do. if a person just wanted to do that, what are the chances of success? So that, yeah, that's a lot to think about, really, in those type professions. And my understanding is, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong on this, that when you become, like, if you're in the electrical trade, you can become an electrician, that there's only so many type jobs that you can work on if you don't have a certain level of certification. Is that right?
Mhm. I'm sure it is. Yeah.
That is right. At least
And
in Washington, D.C., that's the way it is.
okay. So, and to get that certain level of certification, a lot of times you have to work for or under somebody for a certain number of hours.
Yep. That's probably true too. And
So
that,
that's an issue.
you know what, again, that's why I said that if the amount of professional African Americans who are in that profession goes down, that limits the ability of someone to work under somebody, you know?
Right.
And that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the fight. I mean, my nephew would spend in his infant stages, he would spend hours, if not days, at the union hall waiting to be called. But of course, the only people left in the room were Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And he went through all the apprenticeship and the journeyman and the whole shot. And at each stage, he started, challenging the union officials, because that's the way he was raised. He was good at what he did. They couldn't deny that. He kept moving through the ranks, and now he's in a posture where he's taking on other people and starting them, um, you know, starting to teach them what it is that he learned. And then you've got to become a master electrician, you also need to be someone who can test well.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, because a test is going to be required.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's all types of biases that exist in any of these systems that we have in this country, because anytime you have an occupational licensing process, there's always going to be entry-level barriers to that occupation, because we cannot afford, the system can't afford to have an overabundance of electricians. Or, for that matter, we can't afford to have an overabundance of lawyers. Could you imagine if half the people in this country were attorneys, what the cost would be to get a trial or have a trust put together? I mean, right now, depending on where you are and the complexity, of your trust, you might spend anywhere from $2,000 to as much as $8,000 having an attorney establish a trust for you. And if you got a lot of issues in your trust, it may be more than $8,000. If you're talking property and and spouses, and depending on what state you living in, and where there's community property, by virtue of marriage and all this. I mean, so they got these systems set up so that it creates barriers because they can't afford to be saturated, because that brings the price down. So but yeah, it's your master electrician that reaches the pinnacle. And then of course you've got the electrical engineers, which is a whole different process, because all they get to do is review plans. But in reviewing those plans, if they don't put their medallion stamp on your blueprints, your building project ain't going nowhere. It's gonna sit. I don't care how many other people have looked at it, and what Imam Tariq was talking about, where he was able to lay out the material costs. Now, I mean, that's a skill. You're talking about putting up a 3, 4, 5-story building, with 2 and 3 bathrooms on each floor, 2 different sets of elevators, not to mention all the walls and the bathrooms and the tile, and all of the joint compound and mastic that needs to be ordered. Man, that's a skill. Now you can be like me and do hit or miss. So sometimes what I think is 10% over. I may fall short because I was short to begin with. Now fortunately, I've always been pretty good at basic math, so I'm able to compute what I'm going to need in terms of my own. But I got to admit, and there were times that I fell short and had to make more trips back to get material. And then there was a point where I thought I got good at it. And soon as that happened, next thing you know, I was getting too much. And what woke me up was when I had to place orders for custom materials that were non-returnable. So that adage of measure twice and cut once, man, that became true, because I wasn't in a posture to put out a whole lot of money for something and then couldn't use it. So those are skills that either someone is going to teach you or you're going to acquire on the way. So and I learned just enough. I learned just enough in the building trades to get myself in trouble. So I limit myself to what I can do and what I can say. So but it's always been a desire of many of us to be able to establish these types of programs, and to be able to help our young Muslims, or even young generation, to acquire some of these skills and build on it for the next level. I mean, we're just not set up for that. I mean, I've over the years, I've hired young Hispanics to do jobs, and I've asked them, man, how did you learn how to do this? And back in their countries. This particular one was from El Salvador. It was taught to them in school, where they might have a class where the teacher would come in and take a perfectly good drywall ceiling and punch holes in it any and everywhere.
Mm.
And their job was to learn how to repair that hole. It might be the hole the size of one carpenter's hammer, or they may have taken a baby sledgehammer and put a bigger hole in it. But you had to know how to repair it, because it's always been a wonder to me when I go to any of these urban cities, I see perfectly pitched sidewalks, curbs, sewer grates, all this road work that's going done. Yet when I look at some of the Latin countries, I don't see. I mean, how did y'all learn how to do this? Because it's not like y'all got sidewalks everywhere and curbs everywhere and handicap ramps but every time I turn around, there they are.
Hey, man, Talib, let me interrupt you all again. Several years ago, I was in Ethiopia, and I witnessed a brother, I'm saying it in that context, do some cement work, had no level to level that cement out, not no level at all, and it was straight too. Can't explain how he did it, but I did not see a level out there.
Man, some of that stuff is instinctive.
Well,
Some of it, and I would tell you there's not a lot, because Allah has only blessed a certain number of people with a gift, with an eye to be able to look. I look at people that invent stuff. I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Man, I can tell you now, this country could not exist without us.
Mm.
And the things that we've invented, they could not exist without us. But I'm more interested in that mind. I mean, what kind of mind could develop the very things that you and I'll just say myself, a lot of these inventions until here recently, the things that I used, I said the white man did it. But now I'm finding out he only took it. He took credit for it. Or he bought out the person who did. From everything down to the super soaker, that powerful water gun. Black man invented that.
mm-hmm.
And he's still alive. And he signed the rights over, I think it was to Hasbro Toys.
That's right. And
they beat him out of millions in royalties. And he sued them and won. So I mean, but it's the idea, and he in this, I guess, one of them, I don't know if it's a TikTok or one of these videos I was watching, he explained how he accidentally stumbled on this device that has sold millions across the country. And I mean, they even have super soaker tournaments now, where white people will get together and do what they do, but a lot of these things, our cell phones, pagers, computers, I mean, just refrigerators and air conditioners. I mean, look, Adam, even down to the folding chair
Mm-hmm.
that they used. That was us. We did all that. So I don't want to underestimate these things, but I do agree that we need to start to take advantage of those things that's out there, and stop using excuses for not having done it or having accomplished it. And I pray a lot that I become the message that I bring. I still, inshallah, I still have a few good years left in me, that what I'm not able to do, I may be able to help someone else get started in doing. Because the Quran teaches us that we can do the same thing with a little that we can do with a lot. I think Adam mentioned that might have been last week. Where Allah was talking about the garden.
Yeah.
Where some of it gets plentiful rain, but in others a light mist will do.
Right.
So so sometimes when we start thinking like this, we want to go all the way to the top, and get the whole program together so we can invite 300 youth in to take classes on the trades. Maybe we just need to start with 1, 2, 3, and build, let it build from there. That I would tell you, there are more so-called entrepreneurs and business people out there that have these ideas of what they want to do and how they could do it if they could just get their hands on some money. I mean, how many people that are working right now that will say, when I retire, I'm going to start my own business?
Mm-hmm.
They don't do no such thing. They retire and they go live a life of their retirement, and it doesn't include starting a business. But I can tell you, the first thing you need to do if you want to be in business is to wake up tomorrow morning and start doing everything you think a businessman or businesswoman would do. And you're going to look up one day, like I did, and realize you're not just a businessman, you're an entrepreneur. And stop calling yourself a businessman, because that puts you, that pigeonholes you. And people are always going to be looking at you for the one business that they think you in. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And if I can just end up being a catalyst for getting someone started, that'll be fine with me. I think I would have accomplished what Allah set in me to do. That's what He's put in my spirit, and I'm gonna keep pushing towards that. So far it's worked. Yeah, so far it's worked. All right, good people. We coming up on noon. This is at least noon here. So it's 11 o'clock in other places, but and some people in California are just getting up. Ain't that something? All right. So is there anything else? Because I got my marching order.
So let's think about this over the next few days of who is going to spearhead as far as reaching out to potential guests. and think
I thought
about.
I thought all of us were going to do that. To
No,
reach-
I think the ideas on who should come from all of us.
Right. Okay.
But I do think that whether we send a letter or an email or however we want to do it, I'm sure
that should come from
probably
one person. Yes.
That
Yeah,
should come from one person.
Yeah, that's going
Right.
to come from you.
Oh, don't volunteer me for that. Do not volunteer me for that. And if you think,
But that's what you do.
If you think that I would be a person to do that,
Yes, sir.
there has to be a format, which I am not that great at coming up with. In other words, there has to be a communication format that we use, an invitation letter or something along those lines. It's basically used with everybody. You know, little changes here or there, but somebody's got to come up with
All right. Well, somebody can work on that part.
that. Okay.
But you'll be the one to administer it. So yeah,
Okay. I mean,
yeah,
I'll do that.
yeah.
I'll
You
send
can be
I'll send
the
the email
administrator.
out.
I mean, what? Well, let me ask you this:
Uh-huh.
what role do you want to play?
Oh, I'm usually the chief antagonist. I'm the person asking a lot of questions and making people walk on hot coals.
Let me,
I like to ask questions. I like to learn stuff. But
so we're gonna need a letter of invitation. Okay.
yeah, we need a letter of invitation. Exactly. That's what we need.
All right. Okay. All right. I mean, I'll work on something and
See, that's where you need the women. Women always do that extremely well. Like they do the invitation game. They have that down. Weddings, baby showers. I mean, they know how to create invitations. You know. But anyway, we'll do what we have to do with who we've got.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll just tap into my feminine side.
Okay, I'm just gonna let that go laughed off into the heavens.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because
I have been told that exists.
Yes, Imam W. Muhammad taught us that.
I understand.
Soul is feminine.
I've heard it.
Okay.
I have yet to encounter it in Wa.
Okay. All right.
So I'm still searching for that enlightenment.
Okay.
I haven't gotten there yet. But for those who are beyond me in enlightenment, please.
Yes, sir. All right.
Invoke that feminine side and come up with something that we can work with.
All right. Let me see what I can do.
All right. Imam Tariq, will you close us out this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are?
I'm still in the AM.
Okay.
Bismillah. Oh no. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak. Alhamdulillah.
All right, man. Everybody go enjoy Juice 23.
That's it.
All right. Go off.